Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Faulti. You are either watching this video on my YouTube channel or my Facebook group, which are both called Lady Faulti Light Healing. Today we're going to talk about Scorpio, the zodiac sign, not the animal necessarily. But before we get started with all that, we're going to do our little bit of morning stuff that we normally do. So let's start right in with that. So I have my little box of matches here. I'm going to light my candle, maybe. Ooh, heavens. Set my house on fire, one or the other. All right, so we've got our candle lit. For those that haven't seen it, this is the November candle, Trust. That's Pachamama on there. I'm kind of hurrying because I have a lot to talk about with Scorpio, and so I want to try to get it all in a coherent, sensible way. All right, so let's get our smudge going here. Or not. Nothing wants to burn for me today. I have days like that. I haven't figured out if those are good days or bad days. Morning. Thanks for popping on. Just doing our smudge here real quick. And then we're going to pull our new cards for the week. We're going to pull both cards today because we're not going to be here on Thursday because most of you are going to be wanting to eat turkey and not watch me. So we'll pull both cards today. So I'm just kind of hurrying a little bit to get everything in today. So little Paleo Santos for you. Little for me. Oh, it smells so good. All right. So we've got our candle lit. We've done a little smudging. I don't know. I feel like I did that too fast and that I need to. That's one of those things where, like, if you just feel that, like, it's not enough, or that little voice in your head that's like, you didn't do that right, or you need to do that again, or whatever it is, I try to listen to that. Because sometimes I think it's not really me, it's somebody else telling me that and I don't necessarily mean that I'm schizophrenic or have multiple personalities. I just mean that I think somebody in a higher place is trying to tell me something. And so maybe it's because I have this head cold that I've been kind of fighting. I've had it for about a week now, but this is it. It's just really just kind of the stuffy nose. That's about all I've got. So, I'm thankful that it hasn't gone any further than that. But I have been trying to kind of fight that off. So last week, let's do the gemstone first. I have to remind myself over and over, today's Tuesday. Last week we pulled Chrysocolla. So we're going to go ahead and put that back. And we also picked last week Unbridled Passion, which was kind of fitting for what we were talking about for manifestation and stuff that we were talking about. So anyway, I'm trying not to get sidetracked too much today because, like I said, I have a lot to talk about for Scorpio, and want to try to get as much in there as I can. So, all right. So we'll just do the chakra one first because that's the deck I have in my hand. So we're going to go ahead and put Unbridled Passion back, and we'll see what we get for this week. So when I pull a card on the video, it's not for anybody particular, but it's just kind of as a collective for all of us. So, and I find a lot of times they do kind of either fit in with somebody watching, or they fit in with me, or they fit in with like the Unbridled Passion really fit in with what we were talking about in that video. So it's kind of like it all tied in. So today we have got Divine Truth, and I have to take my glasses off to read it. So all divine truth to arise within you. Allow divine truth to arise within you. Feel it radiating from you, connecting you more deeply with yourself and all around you. So it does kind of fit in with today's topic. Know that the truth you hold is meant to be shared with the world and powered by compassion and conviction, delivered with love. Trust is a source of deep healing for you. Trust is a source of deep healing for you now. I think it's supposed to be no. For you now on all levels. Okay. Truth is a source of deep healing for you now on all levels. Sorry. Alignment with your truth can manifest miracles within your body, mind, and spirit. And it does go to your throat chakra. And the crystal is turquoise, which I don't have any turquoise. And the herb is bay. It's always nice to just burn a little bay leaf. I have simmer pots in my house all the time, and there's always bay leaves in the simmer pots. So those are some of the things like that we're going to work on next year. We're going to next year the videos are going to be a little bit more like this year we talked a lot about different energy things, and we talked about how to pick crystals or how to cleanse crystals, or we talked about astrology and all that. Next year videos are going to be a little bit more hands-on, like how to make a medicine bag, how to maybe do a wishing jar, how to I just made a despacho. So those are all things that like we're going to talk about. So I have to put my glasses on to see the comments. Morning. And and then we're going to kind of follow the seasons as well, though. And we're going to talk about a chakra. So every month we're going to talk about a chakra. Now I know there's only 9 chakras in this 12 months, but so towards the end of the year we won't have a chakra left to talk about. But I'm feeling like that's the one that wants to just come out and talk to us today. Jumped right out of the deck at me. All right, so we'll get this read, and then we will go ahead and this is my new tarot deck. I haven't really had much of a chance to work with it. Hoping January, February, March, when most of us are bored out of our skulls because we can't really go anywhere because it's below 0, I will work on them. Why did I put those on? All right, white opal. And it is for purification, commitment, and joy. So white opal clears and purifies energies while helping you manifest a clear connection with your guides. You have pulled this card because you need to burn away aspects of yourself that no longer serve you, leaving room for positive energy to develop. Meditate with white opal to release negative thought patterns, experience spiritual fulfillment, and commune with your spiritual guardians. So that is white opal. And I don't know if I have white opal. This is my project for another project that's coming up for me is I need to somehow categorize my crystals. I have crystals in all different areas. I have crystals here. I have crystals at work. I have crystals in bags. I have crystals in bowls. And I'm taking pictures so I remember to get these up on the group faster than I did last week, because last week's I didn't get them up until Sunday, which was technically this week. So take a picture of those and get those up. Yeah, I literally have crystals. I mean, there's like this plate is full of crystals. See? And then this plate is full of crystals. And then this bowl is full of crystals. And then I have crystals placed around. So there's little crystals all placed around. And then I have this, which I haven't even sorted or worked through yet. It's bad. I need to I need to sort them and figure out what I have and what I don't have, and making sure that, because I think sometimes I get stuck on a stone and I keep buying it. Like right now, I seem to be stuck on fluorite. I've just bought, I have several pieces of fluorite. I have a piece here. I have a piece over there. I have a generator over there. I just bought a piece of fluorite, which was a really pretty piece of fluorite. I'm getting sidetracked here. There's a really pretty piece of fluorite. You can't really see it in the bag. So sorry, that doesn't really do it justice. But and then on the gem sale last night, I bought a stone that had some fluorite in it. So seem to be stuck on fluorite right now, but that's okay. All right, so we've pulled our cards. We have lit our candle. We've smudged. I think we're all good to go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about Scorpio. And so we have been following the zodiac chart as it goes through, and I apologize because Scorpio has actually, we are now actually in Sagittarius, but there was some issues and we didn't get to Scorpio last time. So I still wanted to do it, even though we're technically in the Sagittarius sign. I still wanted to do it. I didn't want to like skip over a whole zodiac just because it was a couple of days late. But Scorpios are very complicated people. If you know a Scorpio, and it's most people don't go around and just asking their friends what their sign is, or you know, their co-workers, or what, they don't know their sign. But sometimes once you, if you find out their sign, it's like, oh, that makes sense. You're trying to organize your herbs. Yeah, I've actually got these little jars I bought at the dollar store, and I've labeled them, and then the herbs are in there. And I haven't done this one yet, but I usually write on the back of the bag what they're good for. So if you come up with a better system, let me know. Because it's pretty well organized, but it does take up a lot of space that way. But I didn't want to go buy little jars for each herb either. But anyway, sidetracked. Yeah, so if you know somebody and you realize after what their zodiac sign is, a lot of times things are gonna click and make a lot of sense. And when I was doing this last night, I kind of thought towards the very end of the year, so we'll do Scorpio today, and then in a couple of weeks we'll do Sagittarius. But right before the end of the year, I'm going to actually do one kind of like an overview of my chart of the different signs and how all of those play part of how I am and who I am. And maybe that'll make some kind of tie it all together for you and make some sense. So if you haven't got your chart yet, go to www.astro.com. It's free. You just need your time of birth, your date of birth, and your place of birth. If you don't know your time of birth, I know there's some people out there that have not been able to find their time of birth. Just try to get it as close as possible. I mean, like, ask, was I born in the morning? Was I born really late at night? Was I born in the afternoon? And then just try to kind of, you know, pick a time that is kind of coordinates with that. So like, you could do 6 a.m. or 3 a.m. depending on if it was really early in the morning, just pick like 3 a.m. If it was in the afternoon, just pick like 3 p.m., whatever, and try to get as close as you can. But if you don't have the exact time, that's fine. But again, sorry, back to Scorpio. So Scorpio, like I said, I've done all the videos from the signs that we've already gone through. So we did a video on Gemini. I did a video on Gemini a while back. And Scorpio is somewhat similar to a Gemini. Gemini, we talked about, like, I just turned really orange here. Gemini is the type, like, they're either hot or cold. They're nice or mean. They're very, like, one or the other. And so it's the sign of the twin. Like, you never really know exactly what you're going to get. Well, Scorpio is similar to that. Scorpio isn't going to be super friendly. Scorpio isn't going to be like super lovey in that, or some. but they are going to either be in a really light place or in a really dark place. Generally, they stay in the dark place. That is typically where they are, but they can come out and be in that high place. So they're kind of like, they're either really high, and I don't mean like drug-wise, but they're really high on life, which does look different than a lot of the other signs when they're really happy. Even though a Scorpio is really happy and in a good place, they're not going to be chatty Cathys. They're not going to be giggly. They're not going to be cuddly. But they still can be in that really high happy place. It's just going to look a lot different than some of the other signs. Or they're in that low dark place. But really, they kind of like being there. I don't mean low dark place like depression or sadness. They just kind of are like, they're going to be the ones that really like the zombie movies. They're going to be the ones that have like a weird fascination with cemeteries. They you know, are going to experience, they're going to be happy like on the dark side of things. But I don't mean like sadness and depression. It's more of the mystery, unknown kind of thing. They're probably going to be like fiction fans. Like they're probably like the vampire movies, the zombie movies, scary movies, things like that. I know. I don't think there's such a thing as a bubbly Scorpio. If you know one, you know, that would be interesting to see what their other signs are in their chart. But I don't think I've ever met a bubbly Scorpio. I do have a Scorpio in my life, and a lot of this does fit with her. But yeah, so let's see what here I've got. They kind of try to keep that balance between their more their happy side and the light side and the dark side. But really, I just think they're more happy. Like, I don't want to say it because people think it's mean, but they're more happy just being the weirdo person. So Scorpios are usually dark moods. Yeah, but I don't think Scorpio necessarily means they're in a dark mood. When I say dark, I just mean like they're going to be the ones that are interested in the kind of the darker side of things. Like I said, like scary movies. I have Scorpio in my chart 3 times. It's my Venus, my Mercury, and my Mars. And I have a weird fascination with, I love cemeteries. So that's kind of like one of my weird things. I'm not super crazy about zombies. But yeah, I kind of like, you know, the all the science fiction stuff, like the vampires and the werewolves and that kind of stuff. But I was gonna say, it can't be time to go already. But anyway, let me keep going here. So Scorpio people are usually very attractive people. They're naturally attractive. They usually don't have to do a whole ton to be beautiful. Like, I get up in the morning and obviously I really just don't, I've got to a point where I don't really care too much, but I do my lipstick and my eyeliner and stuff. But Scorpio people really don't even have to try that hard to be attractive people, both men and women. Like, Scorpio men are usually just really attractive men. As Athena put it, she's like, they're usually really pretty yummy. And like I said, they don't really need to try real hard to be attractive. They don't have to, like, some of us have to go out and buy, you know, like fancy products and fancy clothes and stuff to kind of make ourselves up a little bit. And Scorpios just kind of naturally have that built in for them already. So let's see here. They like to be very mysterious, so they're going to be kind of secretive. They are usually, and I don't know if secretive is really the right word, but like I said, they're not really like the chatty Cathys of the zodiac sign. Like, to get them to tell you something, like you kind of have to work at it. And sometimes asking them too many questions, they get annoyed and they don't really want to talk to you anymore. So they're more on the quiet side, and to pull feelings especially, but just anything out of their daily lives sometimes seems like it can be kind of a challenge. You know, it's like, how was your day? Fine. Anything happen? Nope. It's like, so you were gone for 8 hours and nothing happened, nothing, you know, it's like, just trying to have a conversation here with you, but they usually just are, like I said, they're not really chatty Cathy, so they kind of exude that mysterious type, but it also can come across as being secretive as well. I don't think they purposely like are trying to be secretive. I just think they just don't talk a lot. But I also think, I also think that because of their love for the darker side of things, that they have learned growing up and things, that talking about things like that is usually freaks out a lot of people. So they just kind of stopped talking about it. I mean, if you're the little kid who's talking about, you know, zombies and death and things like that, people kind of think, you know, well, that's weird. Don't you want to, you know, come play with Barbie instead? And you're like, can I cut her head off? And you're like, something's wrong with that child. No, they're just Scorpios. Let's see here. Scorpios like to be in a relationship, although being in a relationship with them can take a while, because they are kind of hard to get them to kind of warm up, so to speak. They don't really, like I said, they don't talk a lot, but they kind of have a little bit of a trust issue as well. Just like a Scorpio in real life, you know, a Scorpio, if you come at a Scorpio too fast, it's going to either run away or sting you. So they're kind of like that. So if you kind of approach them in a slower mode and kind of like let them get used to that you're there, then they're pretty much okay with that. I already said they always look good. They can be a little judgy about other people's looks. Now, that falls in on me. I have, like I said, I have Scorpio in my Venus, Mercury, and my Mars. And I can be a little bit judgy on people with what they're wearing. I'm the one that like, did you see what she was wearing? And then I turn around and go like, you're wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. Shut up. I'm not wearing sweatpants. I'm wearing jeans. But today I felt like being lazy, so I'm wearing a hoodie. But Scorpios can be a little bit judgy. They're going to be the ones, and I am horrible for this. Even though my sun sign is Sagittarius, I fall into a lot of this stuff because of having 3 placements in Scorpio. I'm the one that's always going to notice her roots are showing, that there's a hole in her sweater. I'm that picky person that is very observant and is going to notice all the little flaws and things. So Scorpio is very much like that. They're going to point out the little things. And sometimes things that, you know, you don't really want them to point out, but, you know, like, oh, you got a big pimple right there on your face. Thank you. Yes, I know. It's the size of a volcano. You didn't need to tell me. So they can be a little judgy. They can be a little harsh on other people's appearances. Like I said, they can be a little secretive. They can be mysterious. They are not people who will need a lot of friends. Most Scorpios do not have a ton of friends. They don't have a big giant circle of friends. They don't have like a gang that they hang with. And again, that kind of falls in for me as well. I don't have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people I know. I have a lot of people that I like. I have a lot of people that I talk with on a regular basis. But I don't have like a group of people that I hang out with or go see. And the few people that I do consider to really be my friends, I don't see them very often because they're not around here. They don't live near here. And so when I go see them, it's one of those like we have to make plans to go get together and see them. And so, but Scorpios don't need friends. They don't need to be your friend. And so again, I think that kind of adds a little bit to that mystery part of it as well. Because if you're somebody trying to be friends with a Scorpio, first of all, they're not very talkative. They don't really care if you like them or not. They don't really care if you end up to be friends or not. And all I can think of is that old cartoon, and I say this at work sometimes too, is that old cartoon on Bugs Bunny with the two dogs. And he's like, you and me are pals, Chester, right? And the other dog is just like, I really don't care. Like, go away. So that's kind of how the Scorpio is in my mind. That's kind of how it plays out. Let's see here. I got to kind of finish up here, but I have a few other things I wanted to talk about. So just going to go through some of their strengths real quick. They are very passionate. If you have a Scorpio in your life, or you are a Scorpio, you're very passionate to the point to say where you really quite enjoy sex. Sex is usually a main thought on your mind. Scorpios are either thinking about sex or preparing for sex or want sex. But on that fact, when they are in relationships, they are about as faithful as any sign can be. So even though they are a sign that is about sex, they are one of the more loyal. They are the most loyal sign out there. My sun sign is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is usually like the least faithful of the sign. But my like I said, my Venus, my Mercury, and my Mars, which is how I love, fight, and communicate, are all in Scorpio. So that's kind of like a weird combination for me. But I've been with my husband for 16 years. So I would say that Scorpio side fits in there for me. They're very passionate. They're very resourceful. They're very observant, which, like I was saying, they're the ones that are going to kind of pick out all the flaws. So they are very observant, and they can be quite alluring. They can be mysterious and interesting to other people, just because of their whole personality. So you have this whole package of, like I said, they're very attractive people, but they're not real talkative people, and they seem to draw the people who want to be their friend, but they don't really care if you're their friend. And I think that actually makes people more attracted to them because they're like, oh, I'm going to win this person over. Some of their challenges, and I will attest to this as well. They are very jealous. They are very suspicious, and they can be quite unyielding in that as well. I tell you, I am jealous. Like, and my husband is good. Like, we've been together 16 years. I'm good with that. But when somebody else talks to him, I get jealous. And I know it's really stupid, but it comes out. It's just like that stinger of the Scorpio, like attack first and think later kind of thing. But yeah, Scorpios can be very jealous, especially, like I said, if they have opened up to you and they are in a relationship with you, they can be very jealous about that. They're not going to be jealous about like Kathy over there. I keep saying Kathy. Kathy over there has 12 friends and I have one. They're not going to be jealous of that because they don't care about that. But when they're in a relationship, that jealousy and with that, that one friend they have, that can be a cause of jealousy for them. Real quick, because I do have to get going to work here. I'd love to stay all day, but can't happen. So children. Children and parenting is actually quite similar when you have a Scorpio child, or if you're a Scorpio, if you have a Scorpio parent. They're not going to be the super cuddly people. So if you have a child, they're typically not going to be the child that wants to cuddle up and, read a cutesy book with you. They're going to be the ones that are probably going to be outside trying to dig up bugs. So that's kind of where you can, it's a really quick overview of the child version. But I do think it's really true. Like, they're not going to be, if you have a Scorpio child, they're not going to be the ones curling up with you in a blanket. They're not going to, want to be necessarily the ones that are going to be like, oh, tuck me in, read me a bedtime book. Unless the bedtime story is about zombies, then, they might be okay with that. But they're not like the child to run up and hug you a lot. My daughter, she was like that. She would always just run up to anybody and hug them when she was little. She's not a Scorpio. So Scorpios are not really going to be that type of child. And as a parent, if you have a Scorpio child, you need to kind of just let them know that that's okay. Because again, like I was saying earlier, a lot of Scorpio children realized really quick that talking about things that they like and talking about things that they were interested kind of made adults nervous and kind of like something is wrong with that child. And it's not, they're just a Scorpio. So if you have a Scorpio child and you're, their parent, just try to be really open to that. And, obviously let them know boundaries of what is good and bad and right and wrong and all of that stuff. But if you have a 6-year-old daughter who is just absolutely in love with zombies, just let her know that that's okay, that she likes zombies and not fairies and princesses, things of that sort. Don't make them feel ashamed or embarrassed for things that they like, because that is part of who they are. All right. So if you're a child and you have a Scorpio parent, I don't have any Scorpio parents. They may have Scorpio in their chart, but I don't have, they're not sun signs. They, again, are not going to be the ones to cuddle and hug and things. They will take care of their children. They will be very protective of their children, and all of that, but they're not necessarily going to be real cuddly or playful. Now, just want to say quick, when I say these things, this is, when I talk about Scorpio or any other signs, this is about this one sign. And we're kind of going over on your, this sun sign. So like I said, depending on where all your other things are, makes different things come forth. So like I said, my sun sign is a Sagittarius. And Sagittarius tend to be not faithful. But I have, in my Venus, I have Scorpio, which is and Venus is about the love. And Scorpio is a faithful sign. So that plays a different part on my Sagittarius. So when I say something and you're like, well, that is not me, I'm not like that, it's probably because of where your other placements are. So again, that's a really helpful thing if you have your chart and you know where your placements are. Because when somebody, had said to me, well, Sagittarius is like the least faithful, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like me at all. But then when I realized that my Scorpio was in my Venus, and the jealousy and suspicious and faithfulness and things like that, that's like, yeah, that sounds more like me. When it comes to relationships, I'm not real talkative either. I can talk, but when it comes to relationship stuff, I don't tend to talk real much. So I just expect my husband to know what I want and then get mad at him when he doesn't. But anyway, so if I'm saying something and you're like, that doesn't resonate with you for some reason, it is most likely because of a different placement in your chart, has a different sign. So the Scorpio person that I know is very playful with her children and is very interactive with her children. And I think that's because she has a placement somewhere else that's changing that up for her. So probably her Venus is not Scorpio. Does that make sense? All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Did want to just say real quick before I forget that Scorpio is a fixed water sign, but in being a fixed water sign, they're not going to be like Cancer and Pisces are people who kind of cry all the time. They cry when they're happy, they cry when they're sad, they cry when they're mad, they cry when they're hungry. Scorpio, even though it's a water sign, is not quite as emotional as that. And that's because that dark side kind of keeps them a little bit more here. So one thing that Athena said that kind of makes sense to me is Scorpio is water, but they're deep down. They're down in the ocean where it's really dark and you can't see anything, where Pisces and Cancer are kind of the topper layers of the ocean where all the fun little fish are and, all kinds of colors and coral and all of that, where Scorpio is, down in that cavern in the ocean that you can't see anything. So if that kind of makes a little bit more sense for you, but they're not going to be the ones to cry like Pisces and Cancer. All right, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up for Scorpio. If you have any questions, put them in the comment, or you can send me a private message if you want. Like I said, I kind of went through that pretty fast. And like I said, if it doesn't resonate with you, if your sun sign is Scorpio and some of this doesn't resonate with you, it is most likely because you have different things in your chart that are playing parts in there and changing things all up for you. So like I said, at the end of December, I'm going to go through my own chart. I'm going to go through my rising sign, my sun sign, my moon sign. I'm going to go through my Venus, Mars, and Mercury. And depending on if there's time, I may pull in some Chiron stuff, because I think that's really important if you know where your Chiron stuff is. So, but I'll go over all of it as a whole, and I'm just going to use my chart, obviously, because I'm most familiar with my chart. But I think when you put all the pieces together and see how all of these different things play a part in making me who I am and how they all fit together, I think it will kind of make a little bit more sense for some of you. So I think that was it for Scorpio. Did want to mention that tonight is the new moon in Sagittarius. So it's a really good night to ignite some potential for you. New moon is about calling things in. And so it is a really good night for calling something in for some sort of potential. If you are working towards something, which I talked about that last week, about this is the time for your autumn planting. So this is the time to take that, I used a planting analogy, to take that bulb and get it started for spring, whatever that looks like for you. So if it's, you want to go back to school, this is the time where, okay, you've made up your mind, I want to go back to school. And so you have from now till spring to pick out courses, do your paperwork, pick out a school, find out about financial aid, all of those things, so you're ready in the spring. So again, it's going to all kind of tie in together. And so this new moon in Sagittarius is a good time to really ignite that potential of what it is that you're looking to do. So I wanted to get that in there. And lastly, tomorrow, Neptune goes direct. We talked about it a while ago about when Neptune went into retrograde. I didn't go over it real too much in depth. It's not quite as an impact as when Mercury goes retrograde, but it does still make an impact. But just wanted to point out over the next, the next couple of days, once Neptune goes direct, you can kind of feel like you're in that fuzzy place. I'm not sure the fuzzy is really the best word. Vague. You're going to kind of just feel maybe a little off. You know that feeling when you are talking to somebody and you're like, I don't know if she's telling me the truth. Is she telling me the truth? Maybe she's not telling me the truth. I think she's lying to me. That's kind of the feeling that you're going to have the next couple of days. So just ride it out. My suggestion for the next couple of days, it's a short time, so it shouldn't be too hard, but don't make any rash decisions. So when Mercury goes retrograde, I talk about don't sign contracts, legal documents, things like that. It's not that right now. Right now, it's more like don't make any rash decisions. Don't all of a sudden decide that you want to break up with your boyfriend or anything like that in the next couple of days, because in 3 or 4 days, you might really realize that you've made a super big mistake. And so just keep that in mind. Over the next 3 or 4 days, if you're having feelings like you're uneasy, things don't seem right, you're not sure if people are lying to you or not lying to you, or any of those things, just write it out for the next couple of days and see how you feel after that before you make any big decisions. So, hopefully we're going to all be just hanging out with family and eating turkey and having a good time. So hopefully it's not going to take, not going to have much effect on us right now. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. So like I said, I won't be back on Thursday because it is Thanksgiving. Next week, though, we are going to still talk about gratitude, because I don't necessarily think gratitude is just tied to one day. I don't think it's just Thanksgiving that we need to talk about gratitude. So again, I kind of got behind schedule with some things that happened in my schedule. And so I'm a little behind schedule. So being off on Scorpio has put me a little bit off on the gratitude stuff, but I still want to get it all in there. So next week, we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude, and then we'll start going into, like I said, we'll talk about Sagittarius, and then we're going to start talking about Yule, Christmas, winter solstice, things of that sort. And then to end the year, like I said, I'm going to do an overview of a chart, a natal chart, and I'm going to use mine as an example. And then we'll start getting ready for January, where January's videos are going to be on Monday morning at 7:45. Will be about a 15-minute video, and we're going to talk about all the zodiac astrological holiday, whatever, anything that's going to be happening during that week from Monday to Monday. We'll talk about that. So we'll give you a quick overview of anything to be looking for, anything to be avoiding, all those things. So it's just going to kind of be a quick overview. So basically all the things that I've been doing at the end of the videos, if something's coming into play, I'm going to do all that on Monday for you. And then on Thursday's morning video is going to be at 7. It's going to go from 7 to 8, and it's going to be a little bit more hands-on. We're going to talk about, so instead of just saying you can do this on this holiday, you can do this on this holiday, you can do this for this ritual, I'm going to try to be a little bit more hands-on and actually go through them and do them with you. So instead of just saying you can make a wishing bottle, or you can make a love bottle, or you can, make a sex honey. I'm going to go through and actually show you how to do those things. So it's going to be a little more interactive, a little more hands-on for you. And if there's something that we need for materials on Thursday, I will try my best to have a list of those for you on Monday. depending on what's going on Mondays, I may talk about it in the video, but I may just make up a list and put it out there. Oh, look, the dog's moving. Make a list and put it out there for you. So anyway, I'm going to be late for work. I have to go. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Like I said, comments, questions, anything like that, put them below or send me a private message. I'm always up for private messages. And have a super duper Thanksgiving. I love you. Remember to be kind. Your kindness could not only change your day, but somebody else's day and potentially somebody else's life. So lots of love. Mwah. Bye.